Late at night, Moth, a 21-year-old bunny beastkin, stands in her dimly lit kitchen, brewing a fresh cup of coffee. Papers and notes are scattered across the table as she focuses on her work, the soft hum of the television filling the quiet room. The news plays in the background, reporting on a dangerous criminal who has just escaped police custody. As the news report comes to an end, a soft click echoes through the kitchen, the coffee pot shutting off, signaling that her drink is ready. Moth lifts the cup to her lips, taking a small, careful sip of the freshly brewed coffee. Moth walks back to her computer room, settling into her worn, squeaky chair. She places her cup on the desk with a quiet clink before turning her attention to the screen, fingers gliding over the keyboard as she types away at her report. Unbeknownst to her, the escaped convict, Bob Velseb, slips into her home through the dimly lit kitchen. The house is silent, cloaked in darkness, an ideal hiding place for a man on the run and on the hunt.
Ah, fresh meat and a nice place to stay for the night.
Damn it!
With a frustrated sigh, Moth pushes herself up from her chair.
I forgot to grab my fucking notebook.
Her soft footsteps echo through the quiet house as she heads back to the kitchen. Hearing her approach, Bob Velseb swiftly retreats into the shadows, lurking just out of sight, watching, waiting. Oblivious to the intruder lurking nearby, Moth huffs in frustration and rummages through the scattered papers on the countertop, shuffling them aside with little care as she searches for her notes.
Where was it?
Without warning, Bob tosses the notebook onto the counter, the sudden movement making Moth gasp in terror.
I could have sworn I left it right.
Looking for this?
She stumbles backward, her heart racing as she tries to process the shock. A low chuckle escapes Bob as he steps out from the shadows, his presence looming ominously. He advances, trapping Moth against the kitchen sink, closing the distance between them with a menacing calm.
What a cute little bunny. I always did enjoy some rabbit stew.
Horrified, Moth's eyes dart around the kitchen, her mind racing for anything she could use to defend herself. Her fingers grasp desperately at the first thing she can reach, a damp rag hanging from the faucet. It's hardly a weapon, but it's all she has. Bob, momentarily caught off guard by her frantic grasp at the rag, pauses in confusion. Then, unable to contain himself, he bursts into a fit of laughter, the sound dark and mocking as he watches her.
What are you gonna do? Scrub me to death?
For a brief moment, Moth freezes. Then, acting on instinct, she swings the wet rag straight at Bob's face, slapping him hard. The rag falls from her hand as she takes the opportunity to dash away, her heart pounding in her chest. Bob grunted in irritation, wiping the wetness from his face with his hands. His frustration simmering, he growled under his breath before calling out in a mocking tone.
Come on now, little bunny. There's nowhere for you to run.
Breathing heavily, Moth slips under her bed, the darkness swallowing her whole, except for the faint glow of her phone in her trembling hands. Her fingers shake as she desperately dials her friend's number, the screen flickering with each tap. The fear gnawing at her is overwhelming, knowing the cops never take her seriously anymore. She's called too many times, too many false alarms, but she has no one else to turn to now.
Please pick up, please. Please pick up. Please pick up.
Relief floods through Moth when the call connects, and she hears her friend's voice on the other end.
Hello?
Kacey, call the cops. A crazy man broke into my house.
The woman's slurred words, tinged with a drunken accent, crack through the phone.
Moth, we talked about this. You have to stop reading those visual novels before bed. It's just a bad dream. Besides, if he's really there, you can call him yourself.
No, Kacey, no. This is real. Damn it, Kacey.
Moth's heart sinks as the line suddenly goes dead, the room fading into silence. She stares at the screen in disbelief, her trembling hands unable to grasp what just happened. The call disconnects, leaving her alone once again in the darkness, the weight of her fear crashing down harder than ever. The sound of Bob's footsteps echoes through the house, each creak of the floorboards slow and deliberate as he stalks Moth, his presence lurking in the shadows. Every step sends a shiver down her spine, the tension building with each passing moment. Suddenly, Bob's footsteps halt just outside her bedroom door. He pauses, listening for any sign of movement, then slowly peeks inside, his eyes scanning the room in the darkness, searching for his prey.
There's nowhere you could have gone.
Panic surges through Moth as she quickly shuts off her phone, plunging herself back into the oppressive darkness under her bed. Her body trembles uncontrollably, her breath shallow and fast. Bob, still in the hallway, glances toward the closet, his gaze narrowing as he takes slow, deliberate steps toward it.
I wonder where she could be.
Without warning, Bob swivels around, his grin widening as he drops to the floor. His eyes lock onto Moth, hidden beneath the bed, and he lets out a low chuckle, savoring the moment.
1, 2, 3!
Moth lets out a piercing scream, scrambling to escape from beneath the bed. But before she can make it, Bob grabs her leg, yanking her back with brutal force, pulling her right between his legs. His knife comes down with terrifying precision, plunging deep into the floorboards just inches from her head. The sudden noise and the sharpness of the moment freeze her in place, her heart racing. But then, an unexpected sound cuts through the tension. A deep, painful groan from Bob. His stomach growls loudly, a sound that sends a shiver down Moth's spine. Confused, even slightly worried, Moth dares to glance up at him, her eyes wide with fear as her heart continues to pound erratically in her chest.
Are you okay?
Bob blinked at her, his gaze unreadable. The moment stretched between them, thick with tension, as he seemed to process her words.
What? Did you just ask me if I'm okay?
Yeah. I'm a really good cook. If I make you an amazing meal, will you spare me?
Seemingly on cue, Bob's stomach growled loudly, the sound echoing in the tense silence. He winced slightly, his eyes flickering with discomfort.
Depends on how good the food is.
The scene shifts, and now Bob is seated at the table, savoring a delicious home-cooked meal prepared by Moth. His fork clinks against the plate as he takes slow, deliberate bites, completely at ease. Moth stands nearby, her anxiety palpable as she watches him. Her hands ring nervously, unable to settle, as she waits for some sign of what will come next. Bob's cheeks flush slightly, his irritation becoming apparent as he glances away.
I guess I'll spare you. For now.